Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Tom McHugh Reads. It's a new segment which I will do each of the end of the month or near the end of the month to review my book reviews. So I come back to the end of the month for a monthly wrap-up video where I'm wrapping up all the books that I have got. I have recorded earlier as well. Then I decided, don't like that one, so I changed it to this one. So this is all the books I got from September and October. So it's a bit of 2 months, but September was a very slow read for me and everything else because I was quite busy in September. And then October was quite slow, and then Liverpool Comic Con, Beverley Night, and then I was out in the weekend. So if you don't notice, I look like quite tone than my usual self. This is not AI, because honestly I don't use AI in anything, but I am quite toned with the chest area, and I started running again and everything else. I've just done a run today, and tomorrow's my rest day, sleeping off day. I just had my third green tea, which I've been told always have a third green tea, which I will do. And when you have a green tea before you run, just try and eat something energy releasing. So yeah, so I don't have to eat on an empty stomach. But to the books, I got this one book I read in September after I finished all my uni work and everything else. And this is the book here. This is called The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. I never read H.G. Wells in my life, but I have watched a couple of his adaptations, like The Time Machine, which was directed by his grandson, Simon Wells, and it's one of my absolute favourites. The cinematography takes me back, and the music and everything else, and the direction, arguably the perfect adaptation that H.G. Wells' work. This one is The Invisible Man, which is a story takes place in the I think Victorian period, when a stranger comes into the inn, and then it was a strange, unusual one where he was all bandaged up with sunglasses on and a cape, and then suddenly the village was suffering issues, and it all started since the man in the bandages came to town, and then suddenly he was invisible, and the book takes on there. And it also really, this book deals with addiction as well, because he has this invisible ink that makes him go invisible, and all sorts. So it is a book does explore addiction in a sci-fi perspective. I really enjoy H.G. Wells' work. I think he's a terrific storyteller, and the covers here is from Vintage Classics, so you got it Vintage Wells, which is H.G. Wells, and I'm planning to collect these covers because these covers and the spines are so good. And look at this, this is just beautiful, and the illustration works is by Steve Wilson, which is absolutely fantastic. So I highly recommend this great classic. I am collecting H.G. Wells' work in this style, and it's just, look at it. Isn't it just look amazing? Really good. Really personally enjoyed this book. Now, from my other channel, when I used to do single book reviews, because I don't really have time to do a monthly wrap up, because, excuse me, I just had a green tea, so I'm like, it's not gagging or anything else. But normally when I do single book reviews, that's a really good thing for me for my time schedules and everything else. And then suddenly, now I'm not in education anymore, I can do monthly wrap-ups. So I can wrap up on any time of the day. I feel like reading is really good to fill out your day as well. So I actually thought, you know what, I do a reading marathon, a 24-hour reading marathon, and I marathon this book. And this is Karin Slaughter's Pieces of Her. You remember me reading, I'll show you really quite close up. Here it is. You see me reading Girl Forgotten, which I have read and I love. And I read a couple of hers before Girl Forgotten and it was fantastic. This one is exactly the same. This gave me the straightforward drive. This is a book about a girl called Andrea Oliver, who's known as Andy Oliver, but she's also appeared in Girl Forgotten when she was trying to investigate a case of a teenage pregnant woman, and she this is the first installment of the series, and it's explore about a bit about her background, that she used to be an actress in New York, but she was paying bills in restaurants. She was a struggling actress, so she decided to come home and stay with her mother. So, and then this is where she's thinking of going back to New York to say, you know what, let's try this again. And her mum's trying to assist her to do so. And there was an eruption happened with a man coming in and shot a couple of people in this cafe. And a mother who works in the mental health institute trying to calm down the situation, trying to resolve everything, and then he stabbed her in the hand to protect her daughter, and because he was shooting, and he grabbed the knife and just stabbed her on the hand, so the gun aims on the floor so it won't hurt anybody, and pulled the trigger. And then her mother killed the guy by slitting her throat with her palm, the back of her hand, like that. And then the book takes it from there on this instant, because because her daughter uncovered some dark truths about her mother, that she was a known killer. This one driven me to the very end of the book. It does flashbacks. The pit chapters are a little bit longer. That's what Karin Slaughter does, but I like it that way by her, because Karin Slaughter is an excellent writer. She has been explored the realms of true crime fiction with the gritty blood gore language and the Anson Fear. I love her Anson Fear building. I think she's a terrific writer. Absolutely highly recommend anybody who wants to read Karin Slaughter. I've told a lot of my friends on Instagram about her books and everything, and I'm trying to get them to read Karin Slaughter because she is brilliant. And also, if you see it on here, just there, if it says coming to Netflix, it's already on Netflix. It's a TV show with the brilliant Toni Collette, who plays the mother. I have watched the only one episode because I just finished the book, so I might watch the TV show next year. I'm unsure, but the TV show is so much identical to the book, but I highly recommend you reading the book first before watching the TV show, and that is Karin Slaughter. Big 5s on Goodreads because it was a gripping read, and I love Karin Slaughter as a writer. Now, I decided, you know what, I'll read a book that is completely outside my comfort zone. I just had a look on what kind of books that are outside my comfort zone that I could buy, just one more buy on Amazon, and that is it. I can buy another book on Amazon, but that will go straight to Kindle. So, because this pile of books I'm going to finish reading and then show it to you guys, so to get you guys to read more of her. And this book here, I picked it, glad I read it, All Girls, the All Girl Filling Station's Last Reunion by Fanny Flegg. And she's the author of Fried Green Tomatoes at Whistle Stop Cafe, which was made into a big movie with Kathy Bates in. This book, oh my god, it gave me nice, calm country vibes. Like, this book is basically, I love so much. It's a book focused on a woman called Snooky who recently discovered that her mother, her mum, that she's been seeing quite for some time, is not her real mom, and actually she was adopted. And when she investigate this this history, she found out she was Polish, and her family all immigrated to the US and made a filling station for trucks and everything, and then women are going into the Air Force. And I really found this book fascinating. Like, they even in the book, it's really sad where they said they could not allow women going into the war, so they made up a organization to get women into the Air Force. And they are good pilots, as much they are good drivers, and women are excellent drivers. And I always trust my mum when she drives. So yeah, I always loved this book. I highly recommend this book completely. Fanny Flegg, it's a big 5 out of 5. And I really loved it. It's also, I heard that this book is an inspiration from a documentary as well, which is I found very interesting. And it's focused on one of the female pilots who went missing. And this is and they're part of an organisation called WASP as well. And it shows that women can fly and help our men at war. And this is such a great story. It's so moving as well. I really enjoyed reading it. I really highly recommend anyone. And this book, All Girls Filling Station's Last Reunion by Fanny Flegg. Now, over the summer, I have turned into a fanatic quite recently. And this fanatic of obsession is beginning to be a book writer that calls, not controversial, but people really don't like the topics in some of them. And I read It Ends With Us, and I absolutely loved it. I know some of you hated it. I loved it. And then I read Verity, which was an incredible gripping book that got me finishing of nearly, 3 days. Normally I read a book a week or a book every 5 weeks, depending what mood I am. And then I came across with this book, this book called It Ends With Us, which was really great. And then there's a sequel called It Starts With Us. I thought Starts With Us was the actual beginning of the book. It ain't. So ever since then, after reading 2 Colleen Hoovers, I thought, let's get out another one called Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. And this book, oh my God, fantastic. It was the best book I read for a very long time. And I can't believe it's not made into a movie. Like, It Ends With Us is going to be made into a movie. Get this book made into a movie. It would be perfect. And it's exactly my style of reading. I would definitely pick. And if it was made in the noughties, this one would be so picturesque and beautiful. But it would be anyway. If it would made into a movie. It's basically a book focused on a girl called Tate, and she is a doctor, carer or doctor, and then she comes home to a drunken man lying outside her apartment, and she lives with her brother and everything else, and then suddenly she realised the drunken man is her brother's friend, and he had a bit of a troubling past. And after a good couple of nights, them two made a relationship with which they can't know each other's past. And that past gets darker and darker until you keep on reading halfway till the end. And it's oh my God. Literally, what a book. Literally, what a book. It is literally she writes a lot of dark romances, which I kind of love. I love a bit of a dark romance, I love a dark thriller. I love a horror thriller, like a romantic thrillers, which I like Karen Rose's style. This one takes on, it's not a thriller, but it's a big mystery about what Miles is like and what's his past is like. And I really enjoyed reading this book. I highly recommended it. And when you see the blue water, it comes clear what Colleen Hoover is trying to promote you in this book. And I really love this book so much. Highly recommend. 5 out of 5 of Colleen Hoover, Ugly Love. And then my final book that I started reading, and you guys know, you were probably thinking, another Colleen Hoover? Another Fanny Flagg? A big a Karin Slaughter, people. And this is called The Silent Wife. When I picked this book up, I started reading the prologue. She always put the prologue in, and it's absolutely triggering. It's brilliant. I was triggered. When I mean triggered, I'm not mean I'm offended or anything else. I am drawn to it. I was all in. And the book focuses on a woman who runs into the woods making sure she was safe, and then a predator comes and gets her, and then sexually assaults her, and then murdered her. Honestly, like, while I was reading Karin Slaughter, there was a book conference that she normally does, and how she gets her ideas on. She gets her ideas on looking at newspaper articles. So she's written a really interesting book called Coptown, and there's another book that was mentioned called Unseen, which one of the lecturers at the university said she was very gripped to that book. And I really, put it on my reading list because, it's Karin Slaughter. I absolutely adored her. But when I was reading it, and then I realised it's a Will Trent book. I haven't read all of Will Trent's series. I read Grant County series. I read 2 books of Grant County, and I'm planning to finish all of that series up. But I never read a Will Trent book. So this one is a first ever Will Trent series book that is part of the series. However, it's a crossover of Will Trent and Grant County. And I'm going to be really quick because my camera is about to die in a minute. This book, absolutely fantastic to read. I really love the true detail into these books. True detail that she gets her sources from a newspaper article that is being shown on the news. And honestly to God, and her details into gore is just phenomenal. I really always love a bit of a grittier and most darker read when it comes to thrillers. And I got another book by Lucy Foley called The Guest List, which I'm excited to read as my next read after Sophie Kinsella. This one, I know this is the completely different opposite when we were talking about Sophie Kinsella, but this one, Karin Slaughter, she's a fantastic thriller writer. I have got one last book to read by her in a physical copy, but this one, highly recommended. It's one of my absolute favourites, but so far alongside with Girl Forgotten, alongside with Pieces of Her, this one, highly recommended. And if you were living in my village, this will be in the books exchange by tonight, so you guys can have a look. So yeah, and that wraps up to my book reading wrap up that I read from September to October. There will be more in November because I will take my reading schedule super seriously. I'm not going to lay back this time. I'm going to take them all super seriously so you guys can have a look on which ones I'm reading next. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be soon, of course, Atomic Q Investigates, because today is the last day of vlogging. Not the last day, Halloween is the last day of vlogging, and then Vlogmas will be soaring way. crew. And I'll see you guys really soon. Stay in tune. Bye.